Next, we're going to talk about translating inequalities. I know in chapter 3 we started thinking about what words would you hear in a story problem that would tell you to add, subtract, multiply, divide, etc. Now we're going to be working with equations. Here are some key words to notice when we know it's an equation with an equal sign. Here are some key words when we know we need to write an equation with a greater than sign, a less than sign, a greater than or equal to, or a less than or equal to. Be very careful when you just see less than, it is referring to a subtraction problem. Okay. At the bottom of your page, there are 3 statements I would like you to copy down. Pause the video. Definition number 1, 2, and 3. Please copy what I have written down and pause the video. Thank you for pausing the video. What we're going to do now is we're going to use these words and start writing equations or expressions or inequalities. What I usually like to do is I like to highlight words that give me clues as to what type of math problem or expression I am writing. When I read the very first one, 5 more than, okay, so I'm going to highlight more than, 4 times, that's another operation, a number. When I don't know a number in math, what do we use? A variable. So now I'm going to write the equation 5 more than, so 5 more than, 4 times a number. When I don't know a number, I use a variable. You can use n, you can use x. So this is what I have written. Is this an expression, an equation, or an inequality? This would be an expression. It contains 2 terms. A term is like this number 5, and 4n. There are 2 terms connected by an operation. In this case, it is addition. Let's look at the one next to it. The sum, that tells me something. Sum means adding, of twice a number and 2 is greater than, so I had the verb is that tells me we're going to be doing some sort of solution. Okay, so the sum of twice a number, so I have twice a number and 2, so that is the sum of twice a number and 2, is greater than 4. Excellent. My question to you would be, is this an expression, an equation, or an inequality? This is an inequality because we have the greater than sign. It is 2 terms using an inequality sign. Okay, the product, that's a operation, of a number and the sum of the number, so they're going to be the same number, and 5 is 8. What kind of math problem do we write if I have is 8? Hopefully you are thinking equation. So we have the product, that means multiplication, of a number and the sum of the number in 5. So I'm going to have the product. This is kind of a tricky one. So we're going to have the product of a number and the sum is 8. Would that be an expression, equation, or inequality? That is an equation because it has an equal sign. There are 3 terms using an equal sign. Okay, let's move to the next one. I'm going to highlight the math terms or operations. The ratio, of a number and 7 is equal to the number minus 8. All right. So the ratio of 7 and a number, well, ratio means division. How do I know 7 goes in the numerator? They will always tell you in order 7 and a number, so it's 7 divided by a number, is equal to the number, so I don't pick a different variable, minus 8. Is this an expression, inequality, or an equation? This is an equation. It has an equal sign. 4 times a number, okay, so I have times, that means multiplication, is more than, that makes me think of an inequality, the sum of the number and 6. All right, so 4 times a number is more than, so I'm going to use the greater than, the sum of the number and 6. Okay, same question. Would this be an expression, an inequality, or an equation? And then kind of how do you know? Because of the greater than sign, this would be an inequality. I would like you to do the next ones by yourself, and we will compare answers. So once again, pause your video, use the words that I gave you on the other page. I like to highlight, you can circle, or you can just write equations. Pause the video, please. Okay, I left you with this one. 3 less than the quotient of a number and 5. Please make sure you actually have this as an expression. Less than. It doesn't have the verb is less than, so I know it's that funny subtraction. We're going to write the problem backwards. So n divided by 5 minus 3 is an expression because it is missing the word is. Okay, for the next 3, I feel like they were very straightforward. 9 more than a number is equal to, it included the verb is, the difference of the number and 6. On this one, we needed to use grouping symbols. We have a number plus the difference of the number and 4, so I need to group that together. There are no verbs with the word is, so I know that it is not an inequality or an equation. The sum of twice a number and 5 is at most, so that means it has to be smaller or less than 14. 8 times a number is not less than, so again it included the verb is, so I know it's an inequality, the number or the sum of the number and 50. The difference of a number squared and a 4, so that's subtraction, is equal to 2 plus the number. And then finally, 4 plus twice a number is an expression. Please turn the page. On these, I'm going to give you the math problem, or the inequality in this case, and I'm going to ask you to give me the statements like we were just doing. You will never have to spell out a number. You can leave it as is. And we realize we could pick different words. I could use the word sum. You could use the word plus. I could use less than. We can do different things. So for the first one, I will try this one. I will say negative 5/6 of a number plus 8 is less than 12. Now you could pick any of those words off of the page here, and they would work marvelously. If I want to double check my work, I have that of means times, so I'm going to multiply. Plus 8 would get me there, including the verb is less than 12. All right, I'm going to try the next one. Now, this one's a little tricky. We got to make sure all of this is divided by 3. So I'm going to start with the difference. That tells me I'm going to have to group things together of a number times 4. Yeah, I could have used product. Less 1 is divided by 3. The solution is less than or equal to -7. Now I could have done much better, picked more flowery words from that list, but here we go. So we have the difference that tells me we're going to group things together of a number times 4, less 1 for subtraction, divided by 3. The solution is, I use the verb, less than or equal to -7. I would like you to pause the video. We're going to all have different answers potentially, and I want you to try the next two by yourself. Please pause the video. For pausing. Again, we could have very different answers. But I'm going to read through it with a highlighter to make sure what I wrote in English or in words matches the given equations. So 8, I got reduced, means subtraction by the product of a number and 6, so 8 minus 6x. Oh, I have the verb is larger than 21, so that would get me greater than. Okay, 3 times a number reduced, gets me subtraction, by 4 times a different number. So I didn't want to use x again, so I had to include the words different number to get a different variable. Is the verb at most 10, so I knew it had to be less than or equal to.